Yeah. Oh, yeah. I spent my whole life auditioning for a role you wrote. Every decision I made was measured by your vote. Your legacy, your name, your reputation on my back. I carried what you handed me and never once talked back. You needed a son to make you feel like a man. Needed someone to point at, say that's part of my plan. I was the proof that you existed, that your bloodline meant something. You got everything you wanted, I got promises and nothing you took from me. Every year, built your empire on my back and disappeared. You took from me, said it's yours when I'm gone, but you were lying to my face the whole time. The whole time, the whole time, the whole time, the whole time. Yeah. The whole time. You dangled the inheritance like a leash on my neck. Every time I almost left, you pull me back and check. Stay close, be loyal, do right by the family name. I bent myself in half trying to win a rigged game. The pleasure that you got from being someone's father, the status, the pride, did any of it bother you at all? Did you ever once consider what it cost to be the son of a man who had already planned a double cross? You took from me. Every year, built your empire on my back and disappeared. You took from me, said it's yours when I'm gone, but you were lying to my face the whole time, the whole time, the whole time, the whole time, the whole time. Yeah. Yeah. And the worst part is I couldn't even confront you. You died with the lies still warm inside your mouth. I found out from a lawyer in a fluorescent room while you were already underground, heading south. You got the legacy, you got the pride, you got.
Hi, everybody. For those of you who are new to the channel, that is a song from my soundtrack to my book. I just want to get started because I don't have a lot of time. I want to talk about the harm of being raised by narcissistic parents. Now, wait a minute. Let me make sure that okay, I'm not on mute. Good. Now, if you were to think about the person who was supposed to be the safest person in the world, the person who was supposed to be your first teacher, your protector, the first voice you probably heard before you could even form a memory, the person who is supposed to help you develop your self-esteem, and yet this person is also the person who has been abusing you. This is the source of your fear, and yet you're still going to bond to this person because you need this person for your survival. Now, I know that people say that what happens in your childhood is something that is in the past. You should just get over it. But they don't understand the way childhood development works, that it does have a lasting impact on your psyche. That a lot of the things that you do as an adult, you're not even aware of why you're doing it. You're just doing it because this is most of those the personality disorders that people have are really a result of childhood trauma. And again, they don't know why they're doing it. I can say the reason I'm schizoid is because I was neglected. The reason why I'm such an introvert is because I never was able to depend on other people. So people respond to trauma differently. They can become narcissists. They can become histrionic or codependent. I mean, there's non-different personality disorders, but When these parents are abusing their children, they're trying to get narcissistic supply. It makes them feel good in the moment. And I told y'all that people always want to punch down. They don't want to punch up. And so, no matter how low you are in the totem pole, you can always punch down on your children. So when they feel depressed, when their self-esteem is being attacked or whatever, they're not getting narcissistic supply, whatever they're feeling on the inside, they can project that onto their children. When they feel like they're not in control of over their lives, they can demand total obedience from their children. When they don't feel loved by the world, they can use guilt, manipulation, and even physical abuse to force their children to display love to them. It makes them feel powerful. They get validation from it. And of course, when this is going on, the child does not know this. The child doesn't know anything about personality disorders. The child is actually internalizing this at face value. When your mother is manipulating you to say that you're responsible for the fact that she got her feelings hurt, you think it's actually your responsibility. You think that it actually is your fault because you didn't think about her at all times of the day, and stuff that you're not even aware of. For whatever reason, it always ends up being your fault. You become her emotional punching bag. And I'm saying her just because I was raised by a single mother. My father was abusive in other ways. I mean, I can talk about both of them, to be honest. But they're not thinking about the long-term damage. They're thinking about, oh, if I manipulate my child to do what I want, it's going to make me feel good right now. I mean, some of this shit is so petty. It's so petty that it doesn't even make sense that they would even stoop so low to manipulate a child. But it's like it's in your mind because you remember it. You know that you felt like shit. And then why did they make a big deal about it? I don't know. Um, I don't even know if I should talk about anecdotes of my own personal stories. It's just things that's happened in my childhood that when I look back on it, I'm just like, wow, I really believe that was my fault. I really did feel bad about that. And this is the reason why they play in your this is the reason why I do draw a hard line now as an adult that I don't want people preying on my empathy because I know that your empathy can be weaponized against you. And if you actually do feel bad, people will manipulate you into doing things that you shouldn't do. They will call you selfish for putting yourself first. They will completely destroy your self esteem. So I don't care. Call me selfish. If you want to borrow money from me, if you want to do something that I feel is extractive, then I'm not going to do it. I don't care what you call me. Your emotional tricks, your ploys are not going to work anymore. And the harm is not purely emotional, it is biological. This is happening while your brain is still being developed. A child being raised in a climate of fear, manipulation, and emotional violence is being deprived of a foundation for developing their own personhood. And that actually becomes your baseline. This whole hot and cold, what do you call it? Push and pull. You don't really feel safe. You can't really be yourself. You want to become attached to your parent, but you really can't because at the same time they're pulling away from you or abusing you and then loving you. It's just like this is I mean, this is what you learn to tolerate as an adult. I'm sure it plays out differently between men and women, but if you were abused by your father, you're probably going to seek out those same traits in a man as an adult. Your mother, the same way. Because that's what you've been trained to believe is love, that abuse. The brain's um excuse me, I'm going to talk about the amygdala. Your brain can become permanently enlarged and hyperreactive based on chronic fear that you experienced in childhood. In adulthood, you become hypervigilant. I mean, it's just like I don't. I can say I probably do it too. It's just like I'm hypersensitive to other people's emotions, right? Because I already know what's coming down the pipeline. Once they get upset, and then you become a fucking people pleaser. Your parents taught you to be that way. You get a continuous flow of cortisol that is produced by chronic stress, and this shrinks the prefrontal cortex. You are robbed of your emotions. You have to suppress everything about yourself. The hippocampus shrinks. And as an adult, you can experience brain fog, gaps in memory, and a fragmented personality. Excuse me, personal identity. You become inattentive, disorganized. There's even studies that show that hoarding is a result of childhood trauma. People don't know why they're doing this. Why are they hoarding onto things? Why can't they let go? Why are they so messy? A lot of that stems from childhood trauma. And you're not going to get help because you don't even know why you're doing it. People just think, oh, why can't they just throw away their stuff? Well, because they didn't have any control over their personhood as a child. They didn't really feel safe. I mean, there's a different manifestations of you can develop eating disorders. You can become OCD. So the damage that is caused during childhood development is permanent. I know people say you can get therapy, you should just get over it, but there is no going back. Those developmental windows don't reopen. You can't rebuild the structure of your psyche. You just can't. I mean, you can learn to cope with it. It does not only alter the brain's physical architecture, it also alters how a person's DNA is read and expressed. It can physically turn on genes that are responsible for chronic inflammation, autoimmune, vulnerability, and stress reactivity. It turns off the gene expressions that react to anxiety and depression. And this could be passed down generational. And because that is your childhood experience, you think that this is normal. You think that this is just the way people are, this is the way the world operates. And you don't even recognize that it is abuse. I didn't recognize that it was abuse. I always thought it was my fault. I thought it was my fault that my father said I threw the ball like a girl, or that I was constantly being manipulated to do this or do that. And you don't have the tools. I mean, they're much smarter than you, they're bigger than you. So the only thing you can do is try to comply because you are dependent on them for your survival. I can say even as an adult, there's things that have been done that I'm like, wow. I mean, yes, technically I was an adult, but I still was not aware of what was going on. I still was trying to be a people pleaser, trying to make them happy. Some of the things that they have done have caused long-term damage just because they wanted their way. They wanted to get their little 10 minutes of narcissistic supply. It made them feel good in the moment, but it completely left long-term damage. I could say, I mean, I know people, y'all think that I'm just going on a sob story, and I only talk about myself to give examples. I don't have to talk about myself. I mean, if people wanted to come up here, they could talk about themselves. But yes, mm, I don't want to be repetitive. But yeah, my mom completely fucked over my graduation from law school. She wanted to bring her sisters. She wanted narcissistic supply. I told her I didn't want to make a big deal, but she wanted them to come anyway. She manipulated me, said I was too good for my family, I was too uppity, and so I let her have her way. And then, of course, once my aunt got there, then she wanted to question, like basically grill me about the fact that I didn't have a job and all this. And then they had their fun, and then I went home. They went home, and I was sitting here depressed for months when I was supposed to be studying for the fucking bar exam. She had her fun. She extracted. She got her way. And because she was my mom, I just thought that I was supposed to just do what she told me to do. I'm not going to say months. I'm going to say years because it led to spiral effects where, oh my God, it just spiraled, the one bad thing after another. I didn't want all that drama and chaos, but she got what she wanted. And of course, years later, she didn't appreciate it. She still had to rub it in my face. And the final straw was, what was that? Just maybe a few years ago, she sent me pictures from the graduation when I mean, I had to put on fake smile because my family was there, but I was miserable. You got what you wanted, and I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to make you feel bad. But you have to text me pictures from that day to show basically you dominated me and you got what you wanted. And a lot of times you think they don't know what they're doing. Maybe they just don't understand. Maybe they're just unaware. They do understand. They know exactly what they're doing. And you need to stop giving them free passes. Stop. These people are not dumb. It's like if it keeps happening, and these are not mistakes. They know exactly what the hell they're doing. They will say stuff. I remember the last time I physically saw my mom, I was at my brother's house. I don't remember what she said, but it was something really fucked up. And what she did was she turned her after she said it, she knew it was fucked up, but she was smiling and then she turned her back so I couldn't respond. And she knew I wasn't going to make a scene in front of the family, but she knew exactly what she was doing. All these years, I thought she didn't understand. Like I would try to explain stuff to her, and she would just gaslight me. And her thing was, oh boy, shut up, oh boy, leave me alone, oh boy." It- or her other excuse is, "I'm your mother, I'm your mother." It's one thing when people make a mistake, you can give people grace, but they don't even want to be held accountable. They don't want to change their actions. They want to they want to continue doing it at your expense. They don't want to change their behavior. They're not sorry. They don't apologize for anything. They feel that they're entitled. They feel that, oh, I'm your parent, so you owe me. You need to spend the rest of your life trying to make me feel good. It doesn't matter how it makes you feel. You are an extension of me. You don't have a right to have peace. Anytime she didn't feel good, anytime she was going through issues with her husband, well, she can't accept responsibility for her own life, right? She chose to marry him. I mean, I didn't want her to marry him, and she specifically told me, "I don't care what you think." Okay, well, I'm not going to your damn wedding. I'm going back to my dad's house, and yeah, because this was during summer, and I was supposed to go back to school. She wanted me to miss a week of school so I could go to her graduation. I mean, to her marriage. To excuse me, her wedding. I didn't go. So you chose to marry him. You didn't care what I thought about it, even though it did affect me. And yet you think I'm supposed to be responsible for it. That was your choice. Now that he's cheating on you, now that he's not giving you the validation that you need, you think it's my responsibility to jump it? No, that was your fucking choice. Like I was the oldest, I was always responsible for whatever happened in the house. So they do get their needs met. And it is a role reversal where I know they're the parents where they do provide food, clothing, and shelter, but all the emotional needs, no, you basically become the parent. They want you to parent them. So you don't get your needs met. They don't encourage you. They don't help you develop your self-esteem. They're constantly tearing you down. And a lot of times they'll say it like in a joking manner. And if you respond, "Oh boy, that was just a joke, get over it." But if you were to make a joke about them, all of a sudden they're so sensitive. All of a sudden you're being disrespectful. Stay in your place. So a lot of the insecurities that you have as an adult, they do stem from your childhood. I mean, when I was younger, I was into music. I played the violin, the flute, the bells. I used to sing, but she completely destroyed my self-esteem because she just criticized everything that I did. And I would get stage fright because I would think about the stuff that she said. I used to have some confidence. And what makes it hard to recognize it as abuse is that it's not constant. It's not like they're being abusive all the times. It's like things may be normal, for weeks, and then out of nowhere they do something completely fucked up, and then they go back to being normal, and then months, and then the shit is so unpredictable. You don't know when their rage is going to come out. This shit is situational. Like, it's when you're facing something adverse that they show their true colors. Do they really care about you? No. No, they're going to pit themselves first. So the damage does not present itself in ways that are always predictable. They can be displayed in a workplace. You can't say no to your employer. Your employer wants you to work overtime. Your employer is making unreasonable demands on you. Well, you can't say no because your parents taught you to be a people pleaser. Your parents taught you to not stand up for yourself, to not have any self esteem, and to put other people's needs before your own. Your parents taught you that putting yourself first is selfish and that there's something wrong with that. So every time somebody tells you that you're being selfish, well, then all of a sudden you just coil, you just or recoil, you feel like, oh, there's something wrong with being selfish, even though everybody else is being selfish. If your parents were authoritarian, like mine were, you may grow up having a problem with authority. You may become antisocial to where every time somebody who's in a position of authority tries to dominate you, you see this as a threat to your survival. So every time a teacher tries to tell you to do something, a police officer, some your boss at work, a judge, it doesn't matter who it is, because you were so thoroughly dominated as a child, then authority figures seem like a threat. You know that they're not vested in your self interest. They don't have your well being in mind. And so all that trauma that you experienced as a child, it comes up. Why should I submit to you? Why should I obey your fucking rules? This shit isn't fair. You're just trying to extract just like my parents. So you're going to just trust all authority. You may even become a damn anarchist like me. When someone is genuinely being nice to you, you may not trust them. You may think that they have ulterior motives. You may treat them with suspicion to think that it's transactional because your relationship with your parents is always transactional. Yeah, they would give you money, but anytime they did give you money, they expected something out of it. You may have a tendency to over explain. No is a complete sentence, but you can't just say no. You have to explain. You have to divulge all the details about your personal life. Somebody asks you to do something, and then it's like, oh, well, I can't do it because XYZ. No, I'm not explaining all of that. I used to do it, but you know what? I've learned that the more you over explain to people, it's not as if they have empathy for you. They actually use that information to basically to weaponize it against you. You can't do it because of XYZ. Okay, well, If they want something, if they are a manipulative like that, they will just figure out a way to twist whatever you said in their favor and still get you to do what they want. So don't give them the information, just say no. But you don't want to say no because you don't want them to be upset with you. You don't want to experience the same trauma that you experienced with your parent. I mean, at this point, I am schizoid. I don't really give a fuck about people being mad at me. I don't. I'm just going to say no. I'm not going to explain it. I'm just not doing that. Sometimes it's easier to just stick to yourself and be left alone because when you're dealing with other people, they always want something. And I know people will say it happened in your childhood. You should just get over it. It's not that you're sitting here holding resentment for it. Well, maybe you are if it's still going on because it doesn't stop at the age of 18. They still try to manipulate you as an adult, but they taught you how to respond to these reactions. I mean, to these situations, to the manipulation. So it shows up in your adult life, in the workplace, in your relationship with your friends. It shows up in how you communicate with people. And of course, they still continue to manipulate you as an adult. They still will use guilt trips. I mean, because as a child, they may have physically abused you, but now they're going to abuse you emotionally. If you don't do everything that they tell you to do, if you don't hop when they say hop, then you're a disrespectful son. You're ungrateful. I'm your mother. How dare you? And of course, they will use their flying monkeys. They will tell the family their side of the story. They'll tell their side of the story first so that everybody's on their side. And of course, they'll call you and tell you what you should do. They don't know the whole story because, of course, you're not going to actually tell what they did. I don't know what the solution is. I mean, it really goes to show their motivations for procreating in the first place. A lot of them do procreate for that specific reason, so they can get narcissistic supply, so they can get social validation, so they can have an emotional punching bag. And there are studies that show that narcissism is on the rise. I mean, narcissists used to be a very small percentage of the population. Now is very high. I don't know what the number is, but I know that people overuse that word narcissist, but it is not like it's I don't think that it's rare. It's not a majority, it's a plurality. A plurality of the populace is narcissistic. And that is because of, well, civilization, because of the culture that we live in, the competitive nature of capitalism, keeping up with the Joneses, status, teaching people that your worth is based on how much money you have, who you're able to dominate. The fact that society is hierarchical. Well, if you're at the bottom of the hierarchy, then you really have no one else to look down on except your own children. Especially if you have not made a success of your life, Who else are you going to punch down on? And of course, if you didn't make a success of yourself, then you want to use your children as a means to your ends. You want to prop up your children and put them on a pedestal, which is completely unrealistic. Have these unrealistic expectations about where your children are supposed to be so that you can get the credit for it. Yeah, they put me on a fucking pedestal. I didn't ask for that shit. I was just trying to live my fucking life. I didn't ask to be the fucking savior for the entire family to pull everybody out of poverty. That was not something that I chose to do. I don't know why everybody expects me to be their fucking savior. Yeah, I remember. Well, I have an aunt. She's not an aunt by blood, but she married my uncle, and she's a very successful nurse. She may be a nurse practitioner. I'm not sure exactly what her title is, but she has a very nice house. Um, actually, she lit. I don't know if I should say this on. I'll say it. She has a property that's right down the street from one of Bill Cosby's homes. I'm not making this shit up. I know people probably think that I'm just. It's not my house. I don't need to take credit for it. It's her damn house. She has a very nice house. It is in the same neighborhood as Bill Cosby. And so, well, they thought that she was uppity, that she looked down on them because they were not formally educated. And so when they brought me over, look at him. He has a law degree, and they tried to hype me up like I was something that I wasn't. Oh, he's going to be this, he's going to be that. So basically, they want to use me to try to validate themselves in her eyes. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought this was supposed to be a barbecue. I didn't know I was being a pawn in your fucking psychological game. Like they did this shit to me for years. So I don't know. I mean, can you get counseling? I guess so. I mean, I I saw a counselor years ago. It wasn't because I was actually trying to get help. I got counseling because my attorney told me to get counseling for this lawsuit. Um, I guess it was helpful because once I started seeing her, I started talking about other things. But unfortunately, I was still in the military, so every story that I told her, I had to basically change the gender because I can talk to her about the fact that I was, you know, gay. So yeah, I would tell her stories about my life, but I would change the gender or change the facts. And then eventually I stopped seeing. I don't know. I know what happened. She ended up retiring. And then they were trying to send me to another counselor, and I just said, okay, I'm done with this. But I don't know. I don't feel comfortable telling a random stranger my personal details. Excuse me. I have all this mucus in my nose. I'm trying to get through this. I don't know how that information is going to be used. I do know that they keep telling you to call 988 to put you in the system, and I've already shown what happens when you do that. That the police will show up at your doorsteps. They will force you into psychiatric confinement, pump you full of drugs. You will lose your liberty. You may lose your right to own a gun. I don't see any benefit to doing that. I don't. If you want to get on antidepressants, fine, maybe. But never in history have humans had to get through life through counseling and antidepressants. No animal on earth has to take antidepressants and counseling in order to get through life. There's something wrong with society when everyone has to, not everyone, but a significant portion of the society has to do that. Why is it that they always want to focus on your psychological well-being instead of removing the conditions which are causing you to be depressed? I can tell you that when I was still dealing with my mother, I was constantly stressed out and depressed. Once I removed her from my life, I'm not going to say that it's perfect, but I feel much better. A whole weight has been lifted from me. I'm not stressed out all the time. I don't have to think about, oh, is she going to get upset if I don't do this or do that? Do I have to consult her because she's going to throw a hissy fit? Is she going to set me up, ask me to come visit, and then put me in front of the whole family and then try to humiliate me to make herself feel good? I don't have to think about any of that shit. And then the other stress comes from work. I did take off from work for a period of time after my father died because I had money. When I was not working during that short, but well, I was working part time, but it's nothing like the amount of work that I do now. I was not stressed out at all. I was not depressed. I was at home gardening, minding my business. As soon as I went back to work, it's like it went back to the same anxiety that I had before. You're constantly going to work. You have to deal with rude people, but you have to tolerate it because well, you're in a work environment. If you say the wrong thing, you can lose your means of survival. You're driving to work, you're trying to get to work on time. A road pirate pulls you over. Now you're being held in the court. You have to make all these court appearances, follow all these motions to get your traffic ticket dismissed. All this time just so that you can maintain a life that you never chose in the first place. And I know to even say that means that you are going to be viewed as mentally ill. Are you mentally ill for just not enjoying life? Just for, I mean, it's just, you're not allowed to say it. The only response is to put on a fake smile and say that you're happy, to say that life is wonderful, to not complain about anything. People don't want to hear that shit. That's why my advice is to not talk to people about whatever your inter emotional state is. You should, I would say talk to AI. I don't know what AI is doing with this information. I don't know if it's well, I do know because I did work for one of these companies. They do store them in these towers. I don't know that they would actually use it, but at the end of the day, I think they're probably recording shit anyway. They're probably recording your phone calls. They're probably recording a whole bunch of stuff. So I don't know. But me personally, I find it helpful to talk to AI. I don't need to talk to a person. I don't need to tell people my business that they're going to repeat or weaponize against me. And most of the time when you get counseling, they don't actually provide you any qualitative feedback. Most of the time they're just sitting there listening, taking notes, documenting shit. I don't know. I don't see the benefit in getting counseling. I really don't. I don't think that counseling is going to do anything to change your quality of life, to pay your bills. It's not going to get your employer off your back. It's not going to do shit. It's not going to eliminate systemic oppression. At the end of the day, if you can change your circumstances, fine. If you can change your environment, fine. You may not be able to do that, but at the end of the day, I just feel like you're just stuck. That's how I see it. It is what it is. You don't necessarily have to be depressed about it, but just accept that it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. Getting your hopes up to think that people will change, that people will care, that life is supposed to be fair. No, don't think that way. To assume that people care about you and that they're supposed to, they don't. If your parents don't give a fuck about you, then what expectation can you have for society? Am I being solipsistic? I don't know. Maybe other people have good relationships with their parents. Maybe they do have healthy relationships with people. I don't know. The bottom line is that all of this stems from childhood trauma. Your parents told you, or they taught you to shrink. They didn't want you to be successful. They sabotaged you. They absolutely knew exactly what they were doing. They were trying to destroy your self esteem because whatever you were doing was a threat to them, to their control. They were trying to get their needs met. In a moment, it made them feel better. Did it really have any sustaining benefit to them? No. It may have made them feel better for 5 minutes. But for them, it was worth it because they didn't actually have to pay the cost. Whatever damage it caused them, whatever damage it caused you, for whatever they said or whatever they did, they don't care. They're not thinking about that. If you were to bring it up, oh boy, that happened years ago. Why are you still talking about that? You're not going to get an apology. You're not going to get an explanation. You're not going to get anything. They feel completely justified because they feel entitled. You are an extension of them. You don't live for yourself, you live for them. You're supposed to make them happy. You're not entitled to your own happiness. Your happiness is supposed to come from making them happy. Oh gosh, I didn't expect to have so many people here. Okay, D Ramsey posted the first comment, but that was yeah. I, if I can get D back on here, I would love that because when she was here the last time, people absolutely love her commentary. We'll see if I can get her back up here. Hi, everybody. I was going. That's what I didn't want to talk about. Yeah, I don't. I'm an anarchist, so I don't want the state to license it. I mean, I know many people have said that, but procreation, unfortunately, is a natural right. I do think that they abuse it, and just because you have a right to do something doesn't mean that you should do it. So no, I don't want the state to license procreation. I don't. I mean, I did address this. Well, not really. Not. I addressed it in the original version of my book, with the one that I didn't publish. But no, I don't want the state to license procreation. Um, it would be. It's really sad because you can't make ethical appeals to people. They don't care. They have the power to do it, and they're going to do it. Whatever. But at the same time, I don't know. My solution, and that's the reason why I've moved more away. Like I moved away from promoting antinatalism more to promoting elective promotalism, because they're going to do whatever they want to do. If they want to have children, they're going to do it. I think that once you're here, then you should have the right to opt out and not be forced to continue existing against your will. So that's what I advocate for. I can't control that. I think that if you do it that way, then that would actually take away the motivation for them to procreate in the first place. If they knew that you have the right to medical assistance and dying on demand, I think they would have less of an incentive to procreate. But no, I don't want to license procreation. Hi, Fatima. Um, the name of my book, the book that we're talking about right now. Let me pull it up. Y'all bear with me. All right, let me show y'all the book because I know we have some new people to the channel, so I want to make sure everybody um is aware of it. Wait a minute, I'm trying to share the screen. It's not okay. Here we go. The book is "Whose Life Is It? The Moral Debt for Life Enslavement." It is a synergy between antinatalism, elective promotalism, anarchy, and socialism. I've been talking about this for months now, but I have read it online, and I have previously made it available for free. So right now, it is available under Kindle Unlimited, and the paperback is available also. So there's that. All right, now let me try to get to the rest of these comments. Hello. Well, they're just going to tell you to get over it. That's they don't care. They don't want to hear about your sob story. That's why it's better to talk to AI. AI is not going to get bored listening to. AI is actually going to give you meaningful feedback. It's so funny when I say that, people say, "Oh, don't do that." Like, okay, but you don't want me to talk to you because you don't want to hear that shit. So don't don't take away whatever coping tools you have. AI has helped me. Um, I use Google Gemini, and you can actually have a whole conversation, and they will actually give you better advice than you can get from even a counselor or somebody else. Like, just try it. Go on Google Gemini, and you can actually just talk to AI, and then use the voice response, and you can actually have a real conversation, just like you're talking to a human being. Those whom you love and those whom you despise will both be made equal in the same ashes. Exactly. Non-existence is not good enough. The wound of existence is eternal and will never be and will never heal. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't believe in reincarnation or any of that stuff. And even if that is the case, I would rather be reincarnated. I would rather take my chance. I would rather start over from scratch. Well, yeah, I do present some solutions in my book. No, you don't have to manage the abuse. Go no contact. Go no contact with everyone who is abusing you. And that includes the damn system. That's the reason why I'm advocating for medical assistance in dying. You can try to go to another country, fine, if you want to do that, but you need to stop the extraction. They're benefiting from your abuse, and they don't want to lose that. So, yes, you need to go no contact. That is the solution. Don't manage it. I mean, you don't necessarily have to do that, but you can just remove yourself from the situation. Depending on what the abuse is. If it's just one person, you can cut that person out of your life. Maybe you can move. I don't know what it is, but it depends on what you see as the threat. I'm not saying that made is the solution to everybody's problems. It is for me because my problems are systemic. It's not just one person, it's the whole damn system. And the only way I can be free from the system is through MAID. So I'm not saying everybody should do this, but you should have the freedom to, it should not be against the law. Right, right. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking of, are you talking about literally being raped or are you talking about being raped into existence? I'm not sure exactly. I mean, can you clarify what you mean by that? Yes, I agree with that. I I agree to that to a point, except I do think that MAID is a solution. That you should not have to live until 80 or 90, that you should have control over the time of your own expiration. Yes, you can go no contact, you can gray rock, and this applies to everybody, including your parents. Nobody is entitled to abuse you. Yes, that's something that you learn when you come into adulthood. That I mean, they act like they know everything, like they're their authority figures. They have all the damn answers. But no, your parents are just a bunch. They're just adult children. They're dealing with their own trauma, their own insecurities. They don't have all the damn answers. They do want you to parent them. At a certain point, there is a role reversal. And so a lot of times they do procreate to fix their own childhood trauma. Right. Yes. Procreation is their retirement plan. Exactly. Exactly. That's the reason why when they want to extract and they try to manipulate me and talk about how I'm being selfish, how I should do this and I should do that, I don't even entertain it. My first question is, what's in it for me? Because when I asked that question, it stops them dead in their tracks. When they come up here telling me that I should adopt a certain lifestyle, what's in it for me? Because if you are that susse- uh, suggestible to where they can just tell you stuff or manipulate you and play on guilt, they don't have you doing anything. The first question you should always ask when someone asks you to do something is what's in it for me, especially if, well, you don't know this person, they're not your friends, they have never done anything for you, but they want something from you, something that you don't want to do, but they think that you should put their needs before your own. No, what's in it for me? No, they won't admit it. They never will. It wasn't a mistake from them because they're not the one who has to pay the consequences. They are parents. They don't pay the full cost of your involuntary existence. They rented you. They paid for 18 years. You have to pay the rest of it. So it's like getting a car where they leased it and then you have to pay the rest of it. So it's not really a gift because you have to pay for it yourself. They don't see it as a mistake because it cost them, well, it cost them something, but you're going to pay the overwhelming majority of those costs. They're going to see a return on their investment. Your child is supposed to save the family, but never set them up for success. Exactly. You're supposed to save them, yet they're actively trying to sabotage you. Yeah, I've been meaning to talk about Jerry Wise because he listed 10 reasons that narcissists have children. And I was listening to his list, and every single reason that he gave applies to all parents. Thank you for bringing up Jerry Wise because I've been meaning to cover him. Right, I've never taken antidepressants. I have taken like natural supplements that are whatever that's supposed to be mood enhancers. Um I just don't have a desire to do that. I just don't. Like if I'm supposed to be depressed, I'm supposed to be depressed. I'm not going to take some drugs to artificially manipulate my hormones while I'm still suffering. Like this is a natural response to conditions that are toxic. And the reason that you're depressed is to motivate you to get out that situation. If you take antidepressants, then you don't actually change your situation. You just stay in that situation and you learn to cope with it. Well, they just want to keep searching for that magic pill. Maybe something will make them happy. Maybe if they take the right drug, maybe if they have the right child, I don't know. Maybe if they get the right job, this elusive chase for happiness. Yes, yes. This is a condition of civilization, of modernity. Never before have there been so many narcissists in existence. Narcissists don't exist in a state of nature. They just don't. This is a direct response to civilization. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I would say don't talk to human beings. Don't tell them information. I would rather talk to AI than talk to a human being because I just don't trust humans. I don't trust them to do anything that isn't in their self interest. The interesting thing about that, um, Tina Turner was on Larry King, and she didn't do Namya Ho Renge Kyo. No, she didn't do that. Hers were a lot more nuanced than that. I guess Angela Bassett, she was playing a role, and that was her version of it. But Tina Turner's version of it didn't even sound anything like that. Yes, they wanted a human doll. Right, they're underdeveloped. I don't know. I can talk. Well, I could talk more specifically about narcissists in general, about the traits, about the theories about how they became narcissists. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm kind of short on time. Get a dog, yes. Get a cat. I would say cats are better. No, I would say for a narcissist, they probably would prefer a dog over a cat. Cats are more independent. They're moody. I guess dogs are better sources of narcissistic supply. Narcissists tend to prefer dogs over cats. No, it doesn't undo it, but at the same time, okay, I'm not going to say it on YouTube, but at the end of the day, I think you already know the answer. That the alternative is to suffer even more, to suffer another 40, 50, 60 years. I'm going to leave it at that. Well, I didn't come up with that term. That's the term that they call them pair rents. pair rents. So yeah, I can't take credit for that. Yes, Western civilization. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good day. I'm going to get off here. Um, be sure to like, share, and subscribe.